Hi, Janice Perkins. I'm here to talk to you about chemistry. Why do you need to know about chemistry, for instance? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about what you might think is a trust problem is actually a chemistry problem. And if you are in an organization or have some interpersonal relationships where you think trust is a real issue, let me challenge you to think about it through the lens of what chemistry is. And what is chemistry? Well, it functions kind of like a dynamic system. It has lots of conditions and levels and signals and capacities that influence whether coaching or any interpersonal relationship can stabilize, deepen, or collapse. And what I found in my research and studying executive coaching and clients is that trust maybe wasn't present at all in the beginning. And chemistry, though, could emerge pretty quickly and it could then build into trust. And that was something that really surprised me. I suspected that trust would have to be established and then chemistry would emerge, but the opposite was true. So, chemistry, once it emerged, enabled progress, and that progress then built trust. Interesting, right? So chemistry comes first. And what I mentioned in the earlier video is true that chemistry is always kind of lying about, waiting for us to discover it or to create the right conditions for it to emerge. And when chemistry emerges between two people, there's a shared sense making that starts to take place or shared meaning making that starts to take place. And when that starts to happen, there's a domino effect that takes place. Then there's coordinated action that comes from that. And that coordinated action then comes back around and builds confidence, enhances confidence, and creates more progress. So there's this beautiful cycle of benefit to chemistry emerging and coming back around. The other thing relative to trust that I want you guys to really understand is that chemistry, when you use the gates that I will talk more about of continuity and rhythm, it can really accelerate chemistry. And what do I mean by continuity? Well, in a coaching relationship, continuity means that the way I show up for you as a coach, session to session, is going to be continuous or consistent. And I will remember things that you say or the problems that you're having or the things that you're wrestling as a human being, professionally or personally. And they will come back as a thread through the conversation and create continuity and history. And so, I'm attuned as a coach, as a human being in a professional relationship that builds colleague when we listen to each other and we respond and remember the continuity of our relationship and the factors that are happening in the business that tell the story of that relationship. And so rhythm in this circumstance in coaching is really the cadence, right? And I want you to think about, if you're a leader, the way you have one-on-one meetings with your staff or the way you hold meetings with your team and the way you show up in relationship to someone is bookended by my authenticity, not just progress and agenda, but a warm smile or a good morning or a short story or an icebreaker or just getting to know each other kind of question after a weekend. How you are this morning? Can I grab you a cup of coffee? The rhythm also needs to have continuity. So in a coaching session, how we greet one another, for instance, can create continuity and rhythm. How we set an agenda for each session, how we review the last session and then set an agenda, and then how we also come to close with an action plan or next steps or what we look forward to and a closing greeting. The rhythm of those things and the way the rhythm is established, even in the interaction, the way we do inquiry or overlapping dialogue, that rhythm is incredibly important to build trust. The consistency and the continuity of every interaction with the people who work for you builds trust after chemistry has emerged. And I really hope that this is encouraging to you because sometimes we chase trust and it's elusive, especially with people who are less trustworthy or less likely to trust. That's the best way to say that. And I find that this is really encouraging. And there were some coaching relationships that didn't have much more trust at the end than they had at the beginning after my research. But what they did manifest was progress because they both recognized, saw, and allowed chemistry to emerge. And so chasing trust at times is maybe the far away marathon finish line. But we can look at the sprint finish line when it comes to chemistry, and we can utilize chemistry as a tool to start to build more foundation of continuity and rhythm that can over time then yield the trust that we're looking for, that is a deeper bond in the relationship. So check out my website, stay tuned for more videos, learn more about chemistry. It's worth paying attention to.